It is rare to see Congress work together to solve problems, but there is one issue that both parties have been working on for decades to fix. It's an issue that annoys most Americans, and we may be closer than ever to getting relief.
Perhaps the most important question that you'll ever be asked in your life. Are you for or against daylight saving time? In other words,
it's almost daylight savings time.
Daylight saving time seems unnecessary, so why do we keep doing it?
Daylight saving time. Politicians don't like it, and polling shows that most Americans don't like it either. So why haven't we done away with it? Well, it's just not that easy of a task. You see, how we solve this problem could affect our economy, our public health, and crime. Before I explain all that, a short history lesson. Americans first turned the clocks forward back in 1918 during World War I. Officials wanted to conserve the country's oil, gas, and electricity. It's pretty simple. More daylight hours meant people wouldn't have to use as much coal and electricity to heat their homes or see in the dark. After the war, states were allowed to decide for themselves whether they wanted to switch back to standard time or not. Fast forward to the 1960s. Americans were getting really frustrated with the lack of consistency from state to state as to what time it was. We had time zones back then, but which states were in which zone was constantly changing. What made things even more confusing is that within each zone, states were using different time standards. So for example, when it was 1 p.m. in New York City, it could be 2 p.m. in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Imagine the Giants are playing at 7 p.m. Eastern. When do you turn on the TV if you're in Trenton or Tribeca? That problem was replicated across the country with people missing flights or showing up late to out-of-town events. Imagine missing a friend's wedding because of the clock chaos. So in 1966, Congress passed the Uniform Time Act, which is essentially the system we have in place today. Daylight savings time from spring to fall, and permanent standard time the rest of the year. Almost 60 years later, and most Americans are tired of switching their clocks back and forth. So in 2022, the Senate unanimously passed a bill to make daylight saving time permanent and keep our clocks set forward.
We don't have to keep doing this stupidity anymore. And why we would enshrine this in our laws and keep it for so long is beyond me, but hopefully this is the year that this gets done. And pardon the pun, but this is an idea whose time has come.
But the bill died in the House, where it was never put up for a vote. Why? Well, not everyone wants permanent daylight savings time. In fact, a significant chunk of Americans want to stay on standard time. Let's look at the pros and cons of both. First, permanent daylight savings time, which means more evening sunlight year-round. Experts say this standard would boost the economy.
You want to think about the economic benefits of having that sunlight out in the afternoon and evening. That's when people shop, right? That's when people engage in outdoor activity.
For example, one report finds that convenience stores earn $5 billion in extra sales in the months of daylight savings. And just as in World War I, we also save money on energy.
Daylight saving time saves 1.2 terawatts of energy per year.
That's enough to power 1 million homes a year. Also, more sun can make us safer by lessening the number of road accidents and the rate of criminal activity. On the other hand, critics worry that permanent daylight savings time could negatively impact our health. That's because of our internal clock, or circadian rhythm. Every person has one, and it's linked to the movement of the sun. Ideally, we should wake with the sunrise and go to sleep as the sun sets. Experts worry if we don't get enough sunlight, our sleep schedules will be disrupted.
Standard time, that is the best option. The reason for this is that it prioritizes morning light. So we are getting up later relative to when the sun rises, which again is the only real objective clock that has any influence over our actual physiology.
We're changing our clocks, but the sun isn't changing. The sun is still in the same place. And because of that, we're off. We're not able to adjust the way we naturally would if we had those environmental cues. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and Alzheimer's disease have been linked to either sleep loss or that circadian misalignment.
Also, most children start school early in the morning, sometimes before 7 a.m. If it's still dark when the kids are walking to school or waiting for the bus, that puts them in danger.
I worry about not only the kids going to school in the dark, but also when you think about our morning runners, walkers, and bike riders out there.
So now you're probably starting to see why there's no quick fix to this time issue. Since Congress hasn't acted, some states have tried to come up with their own solutions. Arizona and Hawaii have permanent standard time, which makes logical sense because temperatures cool as the sun goes down.
A lot of our workers that work on rooftops or on the highways, they actually work in the middle of the night because it's just too hot.
Meanwhile, other states are starting to see the advantage in permanent daylight savings time. Cold states such as Minnesota and Maine, but also destination vacation states like Florida. But the Uniform Time Act bans states from establishing permanent daylight savings time. That's because Congress doesn't want to go back to the time chaos of the 60s. President Trump is finally weighing in, and he's calling for permanent daylight savings time. But he could be at odds with the public. Recent polling has shown that most Americans want permanent standard time.
Man, I hate springing forward. Here it is, midnight in Vermont. Thanks, Obama.
I thought Congress was supposed to do something about daylight savings time. Like, what are we doing? I'm very tired of having jet lag in my house. Like, I get jet lag twice a year in my own home. I don't even be going nowhere.
Personally, I'm team permanent daylight savings time. I like more sun, but sleep and safety are concerns. And that would require a broader conversation from lawmakers and companies and the general public as to what time kids should be waking up and what time our workday starts. Take it from an American expert on the sun and the moon.
Just when you want more sunlight, we take away the daylight saving time in the winter. Don't you want that extra hour when you have less hours of light at the end of the day? We're no longer so slaved to the rhythms of the sun and moon. We create our own light. And it seems to me we've outlived the usefulness of daylight saving time.
What do you think? Leave a comment on whether you're team permanent standard time or permanent daylight savings time. And tell me why. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe.